Well, hello there and welcome to another Homebrew Wednesday video. It's the first Homebrew Wednesday I've done in a little while, so apologies for the lack of videos. I've just been really busy, as always, and haven't had a huge amount going on brewing wise. However, I've got quite a bit to report this week, so I'm hoping it will make up for the lack of videos previously. Well, been on a bit of a spending spree over the last week. Been to my homebrew shop, finally got paid, and yeah, decided to go, not mad, but get myself a few treats really, I think is the best word for it. But first things first, before I go into that, I'm going to pour myself a brew. Still getting used to pouring from the pressure barrel. Cheers everyone. Not bad. That is the Wilkinson's Light Delicate Pilsner that I bought quite a while ago now. Give you a little bit of background on that first, and then I can elaborate on what I bought. What happened is, I brewed that Pilsner ages ago. And if you remember, I got this barrel from a woman I work with, her husband, just gave it to me because he'd never really used it. Brilliant, I thought. So I followed the instructions from the barrel, put that amount of primary sugar in, and it really didn't prime much at all. I got about 3 pints out of it before it went dead, which I was very impressed with. I shook it up a bit, let some more, the gases build up, put it somewhere warm again. That lasted for about another pint, and then it disappeared. So I thought the best thing to do is to get some carbon dioxide in there, get some CO2 gas. The problem is, it didn't have a valve, but fortunately with some help from the guy at my local homebrew shop we sorted this out, so I shall show you. What happened is, here before it just had like a plastic grommet thing, or a plastic like plunger thing, so I took that off. He said all I needed to do, just to explain to you guys, you guys in the UK really, this is going to apply to you guys in America, won't really know what I'm talking about. This is an old Boots barrel that was done years ago when Boots used to sell homebrew kits. Now apparently it's gone to the guy in the homebrew shop, and I'm sure he knows his stuff, so it's probably correct. He said that they did just a special injector at the top. However, I've got the standard valve here. All I had to do was get a round file and just file around the hole a little bit, so I could then stick this in and then tighten the bolt from the other end. I can't really show you now because it's got stuff in it, but once it's empty I can always show you guys. If you want to know, or if any of you've got a Boots pressure barrel at home and want to get a CO2 valve fitted on it, just send me a PM or something, or just leave a comment and I shall more than happily help you out. So what I've gone for, so I've got that bulb on here now. What I've gone for is the natural CO2 bulbs. Now what these are basically is little bulbs, 8 grams each, so they're quite small, you can see it in comparison to my fingers. Now that one of those will just charge it for a little while, and in order to get that in the barrel, excuse me, I should have really prepared this ahead of time, but actually that's in here. So what you do is you have this little screw on thing, so you pop, it's a bit difficult to do one-handed, but bear with me. You stick that in there, you then put that on top, and then I won't do this now because I've got enough CO2 pressure in there and I don't want to mess it up. You just screw it in, and what it does is it bursts. There's a little almost like foil thing at the end. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. But there's a little, just a small almost foil thing at the end where it just pushes in and breaks the seal and releases the CO2 gas. Quite fun. Now these are about £4 box of 10. Obviously how much you draw from your beer, I suppose how quickly you use it up. These are cheaper to start off with, but if you are gassing a lot, you really need to make sure your secondary fermenting in the barrel and then just top up with these as and when required, because if you're relying solely on gas you need to get another type, which is the big Hamilton Bard or SodaStream cylinders. They're quite expensive, they're about £22 each, which is why I went for the cheap option, because you only need one of these and then you can use it, run a couple of barrels with these at once, whereas you need to get one canister per barrel when you're doing it from the big ones. Probably can't see the pin. Basically this is called a pin valve, this one. The other one is called an S32, so make sure you get the right ones for whatever you want to use. So that's that barrel there. I also decided to treat myself to a King keg as well. Now these are kind of the Rolls Royce of pressure barrels as far as I'm concerned, and you'll notice that this one has the tap at the top, which may seem a bit curious. What I'll do here is I'll show you the valve a bit better. Basically it's just like a little hole there, almost like a pin that it just pricks into. Again, this is a really crap camera, apologies. But this one, it's got some nice carry handles, which is good. But yeah, how the tap at the top works, it has a float system. So what happens is this, try and pull it out to show you. This sits at the bottom of the barrel and sucks up the beer. So just make sure when you put it in you just keep it below the beer level. The benefits with this is, for me, space is quite crucial. With these ones here you've got very little clearance between the tap and the ground, so you need it elevated on a workbench like this. These bad boys, you can leave them just on the floor and you can still stick a glass underneath and pour away. The other thing as well, if your beer is clearing down, it draws the beer from the top more, so you get the sort of the clearer beer first. The only problem is if you are drawing a lot, you can maybe rely on the CO2 gas a bit more than you normally would. You may lose pressure slightly quicker, but it should be fine. Guy at the homebrew shop, he uses this and the other style. He basically has kind of like one there and then one below to get the bikes. So that's kind of how he rolls. So I thought I'd give that a go. I've not nothing to put in there at the moment. I've got a Cooper's IPA kit that I bought from the homebrew shop, which I'm going to add some hops to and stick that in there hopefully at the weekend. Well, not in there, stick it to ferment and then stick it in there once it's finished fermenting. If you want me to show you how I do adding the hops to the kit, let me know. There are a few websites out there, or a few guys on YouTube already that have videos show you how to do it, but you know, I don't want to teach you guys to suck eggs, but at the same time, if you want to see me do it, I'm more than happy to do it for you, because I've done it once before, so I kind of know what I'm doing now. It might come in handy as well when I review. I've already done a batch of that Cooper's IPA with the hops, and I'm going to review it at some point. So you may want to know how to do it once you've seen the review, because it's pretty good beer. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's pretty damn good beer, so I would definitely recommend trying it. So that's that. I've got currently on the ferment. Well, it's finished fermenting now. This is the Cooper's Mexican Lager. I've already bottled the Brew Firm Pilsner and the Munton Smuggler's Gold that I bought. This one, basically I ran out of Star San, so I'm waiting for that to arrive. Hopefully that should arrive in the next couple of days. So I'm just biding my time with this bad boy. I'll have to stir it up a little bit, about a day or so before I bottle it, because a lot of the yeast will have sunk to the bottom, so I just want to get a bit more yeast in suspension in there. So I could put it in there, but I want to save this for my IPA, because I want to get an ale in here. A lager doesn't really, I think lager should be properly chilled in a fridge and really quite fizzy, so obviously it's not as fizzy from a barrel and it's not going to be as chilled, so I think that's probably best to serve the ales from these barrels. This one's fairly near the mark for being empty, so it will be clear at some point, but that's fine. I've got plenty of time to fill that up. I can just have to buy myself another batch of beer and stick that in there as well, just getting lots on the go at once. So what else have I bought? Well, haha, guess what I'm gonna make with this? Think you can guess. I also have come to me box of ingredients. That's the Cooper's IPA I'm telling you about. The medium malt extract that I use with it. Anyway, get too much into it. Back to the cider. I have some cinnamon sticks. Bam, bam, bam. I'm in two minds whether to use the proper cinnamon sticks. I've got quite a few when I'm fermenting it, or if I should just use some ground cinnamon, you know, like you get in the little Schwartz kind of jars. Let me know. I don't know if any of you have tried it. I've no idea how much to use, but as with everything homebrew related, I'm quite happy. I mean, it's what, it's probably not even £5 worth of apple juice there, so I'm quite happy just to, that's from Aldi, I'm quite happy just to get stuck in and go for it really, just give it a go. If it's too much, I'll use less next time. If it's too little, I'll use more next time. You know, to me, that's how I roll. You know, I don't want to go too mad looking up recipes. I've had my own taste and I like to experiment. Obviously with a proper homebrew kit, it's a bit more expensive, but with this stuff, just give it a go, just have fun, experiment. It can't be that terrible that you're not going to be able to drink it. I really don't think so. So I think that's about it from me at the moment. Just wanted to touch upon something as well. The whole pressure barrel thing. I know you guys in the US have all got your Cornelius kegs, and believe me, I understand that is, you know, the ultimate way of serving homebrew. The issue I have here in the UK, and I'm sure the rest of you guys will back me up on this one, so bloody expensive. I mean, God. No joke, I think to get the keg, the gas, all the connections, little tap on the end and everything, probably cost me around, I don't know, £100 to £150, which is what, $200–300. It is ridiculous. It's so expensive. I don't know why that is exactly. I think not a lot of people make them anymore. A lot of them, they're old. They're all pretty much second-hand, refurbished ones as well. What it used to be, apparently, the Coca-Cola and pubs like Whitbread, they used to use them to serve Coke and stuff back in the day, which is why, so basically when all the pubs stopped using them, they kind of went into circulation and got bought up by homebrewers. So there's quite a high resale value on them as well. So I ain't going to be getting those anytime soon unless I win the lottery. You know, and don't get me wrong, I know homebrew is a hobby and it's fun, but at the same time the idea is kind of to produce beer on the cheap as well. If I remember correctly, that's one of the ideas, and I think in order to pay off the amount I would have spent on Cornelius kegs, I would probably have to brew for about 10 years. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it for the time being, so unless, you know, I win the lottery or come into some money, I'm going to give the Cornelius kegs a miss, which is a shame. And if any of you guys in the UK know how to get them really cheap, please tell me, but I have looked around and I really don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. You may remember I did have that Cornelius keg from my neighbour. It's kind of a Cornelius keg. I'm still waiting for him to get stuff, and he's at the end of the day, so it would just be on a kind of a borrowing basis. So yeah. So I think, you know, pressure barrels are okay. They work all right. You still got the secondary fermentation as well. Thing with Cornelius kegs is you're not secondary fermenting it, so technically it's not a real ale, because the camera definition of a real ale is that it's secondary fermented and no artificial gases is added in. So at least to a certain extent you can have a real ale before you have to inject gas into the barrels. Yeah, hopefully the Star Sound will arrive in a few days' time and I can get the rest of that Mexican lager bottled up. I will probably try and store as much of that as I can for the summer, because well, it's just a great summer drink. Barbecues out there in the garden, barbecue, nice couple of Mexican cervezas on the go. Sounds like a plan. So I need to make sure I leave them alone and don't drink them all before the summer, because you know what it's like. Homebrew generally tastes its best after about 3 months, so yeah, you need to give it a bit of a while. I'm almost 10 now. I'm going to try and brew sort of, you know, 3-4 months ahead of myself. So for example, you know, if I want Christmas beer, I'm going to start brewing that in kind of August, September time, so it's really nicely ready for Christmas. Again, the idea of I build my rolling stock up enough, I won't need to touch it until then as well, because the problem I have, I'm sure a lot of you guys have, you make a batch, you leave it for a while, you drink all that, then you're desperate and need to make some more, then you're drinking that when it's still really green. So yeah, cool. Well, that's about it really. You know, I suppose I've not explained actually the reason why I've got that for the pressure barrels. I'm fed up of bottling, if I'm honest. It's really the main reason to it. It takes forever. The reason I didn't bottle this the other day is because I ran out of time. I was there for about 3 hours doing it, and you know, there's certain ways you can speed it up, and I've got the little bottler and the bottling sticks, and I use Star Sound rather than have to rinse it, but still takes forever. So yeah, I think I still want to do some bottling because bottles are good. Probably switching mainly to glass as well. But yeah, so that's, as I said, that's about it from me. So happy Homebrew Wednesday once again, everyone. I'm still quite behind in watching a lot of your videos, so I'm probably about a month behind or so. So I'm really going to try and catch up at some point. I'm not exactly sure when, as I've been absolutely rammed off my feet at work at the moment, but we shall see. Yeah, so big thank you to everyone who's watching, liking, commenting and subscribing to my channel. Really appreciate it. I'm well over 100 subscribers now, so thank you very much for that. But yeah, cheers everyone, happy Homebrew Wednesday. Looking forward to watching your videos when I get around to it. Hope you enjoy this one. I really am going to try and get some more beer reviews up soon. I've got loads I need to still review. I've also got a comparison I want to do between the same batch of beer I brewed, one in plastic, one in glass. I know some guys have already given you opinions on what the difference is, but I've never seen anyone on YouTube actually get two of the same batch, one glass, one plastic, taste them, pour them, see what the difference in the taste is, see if there's any difference in the carbonation, the clarity. I want to know. Everyone says glass is better, or some people say glass is better. Is it really? Is there any difference? Can you taste the difference? I'm really curious to find out, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys are as well. So stay tuned. I've also got some other ideas in mind, maybe brewing up a couple of kits, one brewing sugar, one with normal granulated sugar, and one with malt extract, just to see how much of a difference does that make as well. The problem is, unless you're brewing it all at the same time, the older beer is always going to taste better than the newer beer, so you're always at a disadvantage. So you really need to do it all at the same time and go for it. Problem is, you're going to need to fork out for 3 lots of kits, so it's not cheap. But I do want to do it at some point. Maybe I'll just do it with a really cheap kit, one of the £10 ones, just to have a go and see what happens. Anyway, as I've said once again, I'm sure I've rambled for way too long already. Thank you very much for subscribing, watching, commenting, and cheers. Have a great Homebrew Wednesday, and I shall hopefully, you shall see me in another video next week, so I'm really going to try and get back on track with doing one every week. Cheers everyone.